Alright, in this video, I'm going to go through and redo my high time frame analysis, the analysis of this macro range. It's been a little bit. I have noticed that there have been some changes, and I think it's time to get a fresh start on this macro stuff. I'm not going to delete it, but while I do my new analysis, I am going to hide it. At least, my plans, I'm going to leave some stuff on the screen. And let's just run through and do some fresh analysis here. I think that is good practice, just to, go through, modify your ideas, especially the macro stuff, considering how long it takes for stuff to actually happen. A lot of things could have changed from the last time I looked at this. I have already gone through and done some stuff. I haven't really come up with my new plans yet, but I have noticed that there are definitely some differences. So first, I'm going to pull this fixed range over to approximately here. This should be, exactly what I was looking at last time. The point of control is above us. We still haven't hit that yet. The value area low is still in the same spot. Now, interestingly, when I adjust this over to kind of cover this last part of this range that we've been in, we can see that things do change. And first, I did mention that we did have some high volume nodes in this area, here and here. And I'm going to mark those out before I adjust it, just to show that it is important to keep your eye on those high volume nodes, because what can happen is they can become the new point of control if price gets to that area and then enough volume occurs in that area to essentially make these high volume nodes consist of more volume than the point of control. And as I adjust it, that is exactly what happened. If it ever decides to load in, you can see that this high volume node down here became the point of control. So going by the literal rules of the fixed volume range, we know that there's really three important points: the value area low, the point of control, and the value area high. And the way I look at it is, if price, for example, gets below the value area low, but then gets back above it, that essentially makes the point of control a target. And if price can get above the point of control, then that can open the door to making the value area high the target. And previously, I was looking at this high volume node up here, which was the point of control, and saying, well, we haven't hit the target from reclaiming the value area low. And since it has changed, you can say we have. However, it didn't actually change, I believe, until we fell back down below it. But let me really verify that, because I think that would change some stuff. First off, if it wasn't the point of control while we were above it, and actually pulling it to this candle, it does make it the point of control. Let's try that one. Okay, so you could say we did certainly get above the point of control. While we were above it, the point of control did move down. And, we did not see a move to the value area high, so that was kind of a failed rotation of this range, you could say. And now the way that I'm looking at this is, well, since we got above the point of control and we fell back down below it, the new target in my mind is going to be the value area low, which you can see has also changed a little bit. I had this level marked out for the longest time. That was the value area low, but it has moved down a little bit. So let me move this horizontal line. And that is pretty much the updates with the fixed range pull. I'm actually going to leave those lines on there because I think both of these areas are important, even if one's the point of control, one's just a high volume node. This is just in general a high volume area within this range. And, why not also mark out this high volume node up here, because we know that previously was the point of control. It is another significant area of volume, so why not have that marked out? It will make my screen a little messy, but it is what it is. I'm actually not sure what this line is. I think this line is just marking out this low over here, but I'm going to delete that because I don't think it's all that important at the moment. So another thing I want to do is I want to take a fib retracement pull from that low to that high. And let's turn on the 382 as well. And okay, there's some interesting confluence right there. We do have a significant fib retracement level coming in right around the value area low. I think that's pretty decent confluence. I don't look at these fib levels as like they have to hit to the exact dollar if we fall down below it, but then reclaim it. Especially if it's just a wick on the higher time frames. Then I would definitely look at that as still holding the fib level and also the value area low. So there is some confluence coming in there. And just looking at price action, this area is also the high end of this previous range right over here. So, potentially a resistance to support flip. And we also know that there is some liquidity that can be swept out here. Even a wick that comes down right about to the value area low. So maybe we end up wicking out the value area low a little bit, taking out that liquidity. And the final bit of confluence, you could say potentially the anchored VWAPs start to work their way up by the time we get down to this area, or if we get a move down there relatively soon, maybe we wick decently far past the value area low to bounce off those anchored VWAPs. So for right now, I am going to mark out this area of confluence, and I'll bring it down to where the anchored VWAPs are at the moment. And I'm going to say that this is right now my most key support. It's the closest to us, and I think it's really a make or break level considering it's the value area low. I think significantly losing the value area low and closing high time frame candles significantly below it could definitely open the door to a further retracement, maybe down to some other significant areas of support, maybe even farther down, maybe down to the range low. And the reason I say that, because not only do I kind of consider the extreme points of a range another piece of the puzzle when it comes to fixed ranges and how ranges work. You can kind of say there's 5 points. If you lose the value area low bearishly, then maybe that makes the actual range low the target. If you get above the value area high, maybe that makes the range high the target. That is kind of another way that I look at ranges. And not only that, but we can see that we got a very aggressive move to get up to the value area low. There are fair value gaps below us. And these kind of areas of price action are very easy to reclaim. I think if we really start closing high time frame candles, it would probably be a pretty quick move to come down to this golden pocket where we will fill those fair value gaps. And so another thing that I am going to do here is I'm going to put a box around the golden pocket. I'm going a little bit higher than it. I'll cover that range high. There could be a support resistance flip there, or really it's resistance to support. It was also support over in this area in general. We kind of wicked it out. We didn't exactly hit it to the dollar here, but you can say this is an important support resistance area. And I'm going to pull this box of support down to the 786. That also, a couple lines with this wick down here. It was support previously, so just historic significant areas. And, just to kind of remind myself that if we lose this first box of support, I think we're probably coming down to the second box of support, I'm going to put an arrow here. Now, I do see this 0.5 fib. Could we wick out this box, hit that, reclaim the anchored VWAPs with just a wick, and then see a bullish bounce from that? Sure, you can pull this box down to that 0.5 if you want, but I'm not going to. I honestly think the anchored VWAPs are more significant. But, I will be aware that, hey, maybe we can wick out this box. But I would really have to see a clear, aggressive wick, very clear buyback here for me to, actually kind of consider that as significant. And then, of course, we would have to reclaim the value area low following that because, we could get a bounce from this area just to reject from value area low to move lower. And the final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out this range low. I haven't had it marked out this whole time. Just because, well, we were nowhere near it. It did not look like there was any threat of us coming down to this range low. But, now we'll have it marked out because we are approaching the value area low, and losing that could certainly open the door to a full-on rotation down to the low of the range. And I think this is a very significant point. If we, for example, get a move down there, SFP it, get bullish confirmations, why would I not think that, we could see a repeat of what happened the last time we did that? And I think that is like the main thing that I wanted to do with this updated analysis on the high time frames. I really wanted to see if my support areas changed at all. And let me pull back up my old TA and see how they compare. Let's see if my boxes are coming in around the same spot. And it looks like, I did have this area marked out down here. I had this box pulled up a little bit more. I honestly can't remember why, but, I do think that the fair value gaps kind of in the high end of this box are significant enough for me to, want to narrow it down to more so around that golden pocket area. Doesn't mean that if price gets a move below support box number 1, gets some kind of a significant bullish confirmation in between these two areas, that I'm not going to consider it. Because I certainly will if the confirmations are good enough. It doesn't have to hit my box. I'm just refining the area where I would prefer to get confirmations at. I think it'd be better to get confirmations in this area rather than in the middle of this fair value gap over here. And I think I'm going to leave my resistance areas about the same. This area up here is still a high volume node. It is still significant even though it's not the point of control anymore. It's still a 786. It is still this order block that I marked out as well. So this is still key resistance. This box around the value area high I think is still significant as well. And, I may even consider the top box a little bit more significant now, considering the point of control is a bit farther away. Before I didn't like how close they were. Like I said, any shorts I took in this upper box would really have to be a local setup targeting, a local move down to point of control, because what could happen is we could reject from value area high, come down, find support on the point of control, and get a move to the upside. Now that still could happen. This is still a significant volume area, but because it's not the highest volume node in the range, and because a lot of people trade, these value area rules literally, I think the fact that the point of control moved significantly to the downside does open the door for potentially a more significant move from that upper box, from rejecting from value area high. Now, I would still certainly prefer a setup which I could de-risk locally. I prefer that all the time. I'm not really that much of a swing trader. I like to plan out swing ideas and then try and play them on the lower time frames, because you usually get much better risk reward. You can, usually de-risk your trades much faster. And if the swing idea doesn't work, a lot of times at least you can lock in a profit from the local trade if you were able to refine an idea. So I think I'm still going to be looking for a refined idea here. However, I think this upper box does become a bit more significant based on, again, the point of control moving. So I am going to adjust these long ideas. Again, these are not preset limit orders. These positions are just to show that, hey, I'm interested in looking for confirmations in these areas. I'm not going to be using these stop losses exactly. I just want to cover the zone that I had marked out with them to kind of show, hey, any confirmations in this area, I will look to refine an entry. And I think that's where I'm going to leave this video off. I think, if I end up coming up with some more local ideas within this bit of price action, I may make a separate video on it. But for this video, I just wanted to go over the macro analysis again and see how it changed, and it did certainly change. So, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, consider leaving a like, subscribing, and leaving a comment. I really appreciate all the support on my channel, and I will see you all in the next video.